It's the biggest proof of what happened in Galwan on a day when China's fresh provocation is being reported, this time from the south bank of the Pangong Tso Lake. If there's one thing that is absolutely clear, Indian soldiers will give back as good as they get and then some. And that's exactly what happened 47 days ago as well. We lost 20 of our soldiers, but we took down many, many more. And now all of it is on camera. Images and videos that have been accessed by Times Now of soldiers, Chinese soldiers, who were killed in action by the Indian Army, and a graveyard in China that has been made for those soldiers. Since 1967, China has never got such a bloody nose, and it was the Indian Army that left Beijing bleeding and hurting. More importantly, this is a slap in the face of all of those doubters, some of them who even said that what happened in China was actually a complete surrender by India. Contrary to what the Prime Minister had said, that Indian soldiers, if anything, espouse the spirit of marte marte marenge.
देश की सेनाएं तो रक्षा कर रही हैं, परंतु देश के प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी कहां हैं? उनकी लाल आंख चीन को दिखाकर वो बात कब करेंगे? चीन को करारा जवाब कब देंगे? चीन से लाल आंख में बातें कब करेंगे? देश की सरजमी से चीनी कब्जा कब छुड़वाएंगे? और देश के रक्षा मंत्री राजनाथ सिंह जी कहां हैं? हमारी ये मांग है कि प्रधानमंत्री जी और रक्षा मंत्री जी सामने आए और पूरी यथास्थिति से देश को अवगत करवाएं और बताएं कि भारत की सरजमी से चीनी कब्जा कब तक छुड़वाएंगे। यही सच्ची राष्ट्रभक्ति है।
सरकार ने इस पर एक वक्तव्य भी जारी किया है मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ डिफेंस के ओर से। वो वक्तव्य आप सबके सामने है और मैं तो आज इस प्लेटफॉर्म से इंडिया की आर्मी को और हमारे जवानों को सल्यूट करता हूं। भारतीय जनता पार्टी और भारत की जनता उन्हें सल्यूट करती है कि जिस जाबाजी के साथ उन्होंने अपना कर्तव्य निवारण किया है और जिस प्रकार भारत के संप्रभुता को बचाया है, वो अपने आप में सलाम के काबिल है। हम सब नतमस्तक होकर उनको धन्यवाद करते हैं।
China's expansionist policy and what we call salami slicing continues. Now, yet again, towards the end of August, they made another attempt, but this time, fortunately, they have been thwarted by the Indian Army. Earlier in June, when they made certain aggressive moves, that time the Indian Army could not thwart them because the exercise which was supposed to be conducted got cancelled. But now all our troops are deployed and we will not permit any such expansionist designs of China anymore. They should understand that this is the new India, it's an assertive India, and we will not allow China to get away with such salami slicing tactics anymore.
अच्छी बात इसमें यह है कि हिंदुस्तानी फौजियों ने चाइनीज को स्टेटस को बदली करने से रोका है और अब इस समय सुनने में आ रहा है कि ब्रिगेडियर लेवल की टॉक्स जो है चुशूल में चल रही हैं इस समस्या को सॉल्व करने के लिए। लेकिन कहां तक ये समस्या सॉल्व होगी, इस पर एक बहुत बड़ा क्वेश्चन मार्क है, क्योंकि इससे पहले भी 6 दौर की वार्ताएं हो चुकी हैं दोनों तरफ के फौजियों के बीच में, जनरल लेवल की टॉक्स जो कि विफल रही हैं। अब देखते हैं आगे क्या होता है।
This has a proof that our retaliation towards the unwanted mushkars who occupied our land and our gallant and brave soldiers have exhibited their fullest courage, and though they have lost 19 soldiers including Sivo commanding officer, but they could eliminate their commanding officer and other officers and other soldiers. All it is proof that we are no way inferior to anybody else in the world.
If there's one thing that's clear, that what happened in Galwan, equal fight back will happen in Pangong or anywhere else that China attempts a misadventure. That's going to be our top focus at 10 p.m. on the News Hour agenda. Meanwhile, now more news coming in related to the Sushant Singh Rajput death investigation. Did Team Rhea lie about the sequence of events of what really happened on the 14th of June? That was the day that Sushant Singh Rajput's body was found. Fresh evidence has now emerged that raises a suspicion about Sushant's staff, Dipesh Sawant's version of what exactly transpired on the 14th. Times Now has in its possession WhatsApp exchanges between Deepesh and Sushant's friend Kushal Zaveri. Chats that punch holes in Deepesh's testimony. A text was sent by Deepesh to Kushal on 14th June at 10:51 am. Now remember, Siddharth Pithani and Deepesh Sawant were among the 3 people who were in the house at that time and were the first ones to see Sushant once his room's door had been opened. They said that by 10:30 am, they had already sensed that something was amiss and had raised an alarm. So the question that is now being asked is, how is it when you're in the middle of a full-blown alarm, when you suspect that something might have gone wrong with Sushant, how is Deepesh texting in the middle of that entire chaos and panic? Or should one then assume that Team Rhea doesn't really have its story together, or that they are trying to mislead investigations? Kajal Iyer and Tamal Saha are both joining us live now from Mumbai, where they have been tracking the investigation. Kajal, first to you. Exactly how do people in the inner circle around Sushant explain this massive discrepancy? You're suspecting that something has gone wrong. Sushant is not opening the door. People are trying to, knock at his door. They are calling the key maker. And in the middle of it, they're also having a parallel conversation about a business deal. How does one square this?
Yes, in fact, that has raised eyebrows, and especially that will be something that the investigators will be looking at, because they did make it seem in their statements as if there was a lot of panic and that they didn't know what to do. They tried to call the sister, and that they were taking all instructions from her because they just couldn't understand. We even had one of them tell our colleague Arunil that they couldn't understand what was happening, and so they couldn't even click a picture of the surroundings at that particular point in time. And that is why it is crucial as to, if everything was in such a tizzy, how were they able to communicate about a business deal? What exactly was going on? Either that, or there is some discrepancy in the timing of the death and the subsequent discovery of the death by them. So these are the only 2 conclusions that we can come to at the moment. But of course, we will have to wait for the investigators to give the final version as to what has been given in the statements, because remember, the CBI has been maintaining that there are several inconsistencies in what all of these housemates of Sushant Singh Rajput are saying.
And in fact, a number of these conversations that have happened, is there also an effort by the investigating agency now, Tamal, to get all of these people face to face and question them about the exact sequence of events to see why there are these discrepancies? Tamal.
Well, Padmaja, this one particular chart and the screenshot which we have managed to access exclusively clearly indicate that there is a mess-up. Now, at a time when there is no clarity as when exactly Sushant Singh Rajput died, because the autopsy report doesn't confirm the time of Sushant Singh Rajput's death, will it be too presumptuous even to imagine that Sushant Singh Rajput possibly reminded Deepesh Sawant to check with Mr. the other gentleman
Kushal
about
Zaveri, yes,
a business prospect, about an endorsement contract they were talks with. So that's something which is now coming to light. And also Deepesh Sawant, Neeraj so far has maintained that the last time they had seen Sushant Singh Rajput was around 8:30, and that raises $1 million question. If that was the case, if they had seen Sushant Singh Rajput alive at around 8:30 in the morning of June 14, and if by 10:30 there was already a panic inside the residential apartment of Sushant Singh Rajput because he did not respond to multiple knocks made by Deepesh Sawant and also by Siddharth Pithani, what prompted Deepesh Sawant to once again go back to the phone and then type a text and try and inquire about a business prospect amidst when there is chaos? So that's a question that would be coming before Deepesh Sawant. Even as we speak, there is a lot of action here at the DRDO guest house, Padmaja. We know just a short while back, Shovik and Neeraj were brought back and you're also hearing that Siddharth Pithani would be coming out anytime soon.
Okay, and at that time we'll come back to you, Kajal and Tamal. For the time being, just stay with me. Let me also bring in our guests. We have Dr. Akashdeep Muni, political analyst, Advocate Priyanka Tibrewal, lawyer Vikas Gupta, and lawyer Asad Zama. You know, everything so far, Asad Zama, has been dismissed as circumstantial, etc. But don't you think, I mean, purely going by common sense, when you suspect that your friend could be in trouble, would you actually message a third person and talk about a business deal? Does it not strike you as odd, at the very least, and sinister at worst?
Yes, we can say that in that circumstances, we must not call to the third person or any of the body. We must be so much hopeless that we will try to gain the first time any help, so that we can get the best to make the help to the person who is in a so much problem. We are not such active-mindedly to take a discussion on a business or any of the family or any discussion to any of the body. But I feel that the Mumbai police should integrate or investigate to the first part of it and see what that going in. That's now the CBI is inquiring. CBI has to take the first primer all the investigation papers from the Mumbai police also.
This seems like a curious hole in the version.
Investigated at a time.
Mr. Zama?
Yes.
You agree that there seems to be this hole in the version of events? Given by Siddharth Pithani, given by people who were in the house?
At the time, there is no logic to discuss to any of the body. At the time, they have to concentrate towards the Sushant only. They have to try to get the Sushant from the out of the room, or on that time they are so much hopeless. This is very crucial that they are discussing to the family, or they are discussing about the business
Priyanka
matter.
Tibrewal, that the time frame that has been given for discovery of Sushant's body is not correct. That's the only other thing one can surmise.
See, definitely, that is what we are all discussing from the very beginning, that there is a big question mark on the investigation which was being done by the Mumbai police. At that point of time, you know, of course, questions will raise on the people who were present at that point of time in the house. But then anybody for that matter would have investigated them, would have taken their testimonies. But these 4 people who were present in the house were not questioned or summoned by the Mumbai police. Rather, the entire film industry was summoned. Now, that raises a question. Why? See, the confidence of public, you know, is an integral part in any investigation. Why is it that people were not having confidence on Mumbai police? The array of acquisitions which were there on Mumbai police were not meaningless or baseless. You know, that came out.
Vikas Gupta,
we all of us
the question that is occurring to people now as a matter of common sense should have occurred earlier.
Padmaja, now I don't think really, you know, this kind of a drama or a circus on television must end, you know. Whether this statement is there, what does it mean, at what time the death took place. I think this CBI investigation will take care of everything. And let me also remind you one thing. It was never a panic situation at 10:30. Even I have heard those testimonies in your studios and in some other English channel studios. All these Dipesh Sawant and Siddharth Pithani coming and deposing in on your channels. They said that the first time they knocked at 10:30. So after half an hour, if you knock again, on the very first time you knock and somebody doesn't respond at the door, you don't think of weird things. So I don't take too much into it.
And I'm this message is sent at 10:51 a.m. and by 10:30 an alarm had already been sounded.
No, it was, if you knock at the first time at the door and somebody doesn't open the door, I don't think it's a novel thing. You don't get panic about it.
Okay, Akashdeep Muni, so you just get on with your life. You know, you knock on somebody's door, they don't respond, then you just say, okay, well, you know, let's talk about a few business deals now.
See,
we'll get back to the person who walked in his room in a bit.
They were not panicked.
Factor is something like this, that, you know, people say that why the media is so finding out, why the media is so interrogating, why the media is so getting into it. Trust me, if the media had not got into the case, had it been gone to the CBI? No, of course not. So second thing, yes, Dipesh Sawant at this point in time when everything is going chaotic, he should have inquired rather than sending messages about ad deals. And you know, the most important factor, Padmaja, is apart from everything, the case is going murkier. Why the case is going murkier? Dipesh Sawant messaging, then Riya Chakraborty leaving on 8th, the day Disha Salian died, or passed away, whatever you say. the day Disha Salian passed away, she leaves the home and she never returns. And the next day when, on the interview she said it,
Okay.
the next day when she got a message, she has blocked Sushant.
Okay, so you're saying
on
it is
phone.
getting murkier, and that's the reason why all of this is important. All of this needs to be put out in the public domain, just to point out the inconsistencies in what is being said now and what was the exchange taking place at that time. That is the limited point. I'm going to, on that point, thank you all gentlemen and Priyanka Tibrewal for having joined me. Quick break. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family. Meanwhile, today, senior advocate Prashant Bhushan was sentenced. He was found guilty earlier, and today he was sentenced for contempt by the Supreme Court for his tweets on the judiciary. The sentencing was a fine of 1 rupee, barring which, if he fails to submit that fine of 1 rupee, the court said that he would be debarred from practice in the court for 3 years and would additionally face an imprisonment of 3 months. After months of a protracted face-off with the Supreme Court, today Prashant Bhushan said that he would accept the sentence and would indeed give that 1 rupee fine.
I propose to submit myself to this order and will respectfully pay the fine as I would have submitted to any other lawful punishment. What is very heartening is that this case has become a watershed moment for freedom of speech and seems to have encouraged many people to stand up and speak out against the injustices in our society.
ये आंदोलन जारी रहना चाहिए। ये जो आवाज है, पिछले 1-1.5 महीने से जो आवाज उठी है, ये आवाज इस देश में लोकतंत्र को बचाने की आवाज है।
All right, our legal editor Harish is joining us live on the story. What's interesting is that even now, after actually being sentenced and agreeing to pay up the fine, Team Prashant Bhushan is claiming a moral victory. Exactly how is this a moral victory, Harish?
Yes, that's right. He has all along been taking this stand. Even during the hearing, even during the hearing of the sentence, he was very firm that I stand by my tweets, and it is based on my firm belief and my bona fide belief. He had told the Supreme Court that I don't expect any leniency, any mercy, nor any magnanimity. But see, look at this, Padmaja, today's sentence. In the operative portion, Justice Arun Mishra has clearly said that it would be wrong on our part not to take cognizance of this conduct by Prashant Bhushan, but it will send the wrong signal to the lawyers and litigants. So we are being magnanimous and not imposing any harsh punishment. He is saying this, that the Supreme Court has imposed a nominal for a token fine of ₹1.
Harish, very quickly I want to ask you, just by the very act of agreeing to pay up that 1 rupee, isn't it an admission of guilt?
Yes, in fact, he has agreed to pay. He has agreed to pay and close the matter. So he has admitted that he is guilty. He had admitted that he is guilty, and he had no grounds for it, because he is saying that he still maintains that he has done no wrong.
Okay.
And whatever he had tweeted was based on his bona fide belief. But this leniency from Supreme Court, remember, Padmaja, came because of the stand of the Attorney General K.K. Venugopal, who was on record urging Supreme Court not to punish Prashant Bhushan.
Okay, very interesting. The court says we are being magnanimous, but the other side is also claiming some kind of victory. I guess it's open to interpretation. Thanks very much, Harish, for having joined us with that perspective. I'm taking a very quick break. More on the other side.